Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. I am so pumped to jump right into today's explainer with you. We're tackling something called holistic infrastructure synthesis. Now, I know that sounds a little intimidating, maybe a bit of a mouthful, but really it just means drafting the ultimate master architectural blueprint for Solana. We're finally taking all those isolated components we've been looking at and figuring out how to make them hum together as one living, breathing system.
But first, I want you to picture this. It is 3 a.m. Your phone is buzzing off the hook. Alerts are blaring because your validator just crashed. You desperately need to recover, but your storage, it's completely disorganized. So what happens? Total chaos, that's what. You're looking at missing data, you're caught in endless sync loops, and honestly, you're probably panicking. How do we prevent that 3 a.m. nightmare? How do we build a system that knows exactly how to heal itself? Well, here is our game plan for today. We'll start with system synthesis, then dive into the time graph backbone, outline a 5-step workflow, weigh some serious trade-offs, look at a real-world scenario with regional deployments, and finally, we'll wrap up with the architect's playbook. All right, kicking things off with section 1, system synthesis, connecting the loose parts. So we're shifting our mindset from isolated pieces to a holistic worldview. In our previous lesson, data storage enhancement strategies, we built some seriously powerful tools. We got into chunked snapshots, content address blocks, and compacted checkpoints. But here's the harsh reality of systems engineering. Having a bunch of fantastic, highly optimized storage parts means literally nothing if they don't tick together. It's like having a pile of the world's finest gears. On their own, they don't make a clock. You absolutely need a coordinating mechanism to make it all work. Which brings us to section 2, the time graph backbone. PoH as the system clothesline. Let's put on our engineering hard hats for a second and look at the mental model of a time graph. I want you to imagine a long, incredibly sturdy clothesline stretching infinitely forward. That clothesline, that is proof of history, or PoH. It's this immutable, deterministic sequence of time. Now, every single artifact you create in the system, whether that's a block, a transaction window, or a state delta, is a vertex. Just think of those as clothespins. You are taking those clothespins and pinning them onto that exact PoH clothesline. And the edges? Those are the dependencies connecting them, establishing absolute undeniable causality. When we map this all out chronologically, the elegance of it really shines through. At PoH index n, the leader pins the transaction window. Then, a little further down the line at index n plus k, the validator pins the block assembly. And further still, at index m, the replicator pins a durable snapshot. Every single validator and storage component is pinning its artifacts onto this exact, precise timeline. This is what guarantees cryptographic continuity. Because if a piece is missing, you know exactly where on the clothesline to look. Moving right along to section 3, the 5-step workflow, the assembly line. Designing a system that actually works in the real world requires explicit handoff points. It's a lot like an elegant relay race. Step 1. The leader produces a transaction window at a specific PoH index. Step 2. The validator handles block assembly and it verifies the hash continuity from the leader. Step 3. The replicator creates a durable snapshot, anchoring it with a solid checksum. Step 4 is your safety net. The gossip network fetches any missing sequences. And finally, step 5. The recovery agent steps in to handle state rehydration if things go sideways. At every single handoff, the component receiving the baton verifies that PoH continuity first. It's a chain of absolute trust, and it's all derived from math. Next up, section 4, trade-offs, snapshots versus recovery. Now in engineering, there is no such thing as a free lunch, right? You're always making high-stakes choices. Imagine you have a dial. Option A is high cadence with low replication. You're taking snapshots constantly. This gives you incredibly fast recovery times because your last save point is always right there. But it absolutely hammers your storage with high write costs. Option B, on the other hand, is moderate cadence with high replication. You snapshot less often, but you copy it to more places. Recovery might take a bit longer if you crash, but you get vastly superior geographic redundancy and you save a ton on write traffic. Think about it like this. When your storage costs and write amplification are high because you're snapping constantly, your recovery panic level basically drops to 0. It's exactly like being a gamer who obsessively hits the save button every 2 minutes right before a boss fight. Yeah, it eats up a ton of your memory cards, but when you inevitably lose, you respawn right outside the boss store instead of having to play the whole level over again. Let's apply this in section 5, scenario, regional deployments, building for low latency. Imagine you're the architect. You're tasked with designing a regional cluster specifically for low latency consumer apps. Let's say for this scenario, you choose a 3-minute snapshot cadence with a replication factor of 4. What exactly does that buy you? It yields an expected median recovery time of just 2 minutes. Seriously, if a node drops out, it only has to traverse a tiny little segment of the PoH time graph to find its missing edges and rehydrate its state. In the world of consumer apps, 2 minutes of downtime is a massive win.
But you gotta remember the budget, the cost for that blazing fast 2-minute recovery speed. It's an 18% write amplification. Your nodes are working 18% harder on storage rates just to maintain those frequent durable anchors. So as the architect, you have to look at that 18% and make a call. You say, yes, for our low latency consumer base, this cost is entirely acceptable. Every single choice is a delicate balancing act.
Finally, Section 6, the Architect's Playbook, Rules for your capstone. Let's synthesize all of this into the core principles you'll need for your upcoming capstone project. Basically, here are your 3 golden rules. First, align artifacts explicitly to the PoH timeline. Every snapshot, gossip batch, and leader window needs a specific coordinate. Second, turn verification points into operational telemetry. When a PoH hash is verified, don't just let it be silent background math. It needs to generate telemetry so your alerts trigger automatically if there's a mismatch. And third, prioritize short, automatable fallback paths. If a node can't fetch a vertex in 5 seconds, boom, it should automatically escalate to grabbing a compacted snapshot. Ultimately, your operational runbooks must follow directly from your structural architecture.
So, I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. How will you glue your capstone architecture together? What trade-offs are you going to choose when balancing fast recovery against heavy storage costs? Think really carefully about your time graph. I hope this explainer has given you the blueprint to build something incredibly robust. As always, a massive thank you for joining me here on The Foundry by Forge College. I highly encourage you to head over to forge.college to continue your learning journey. Check out some of our other amazing programs and dive even deeper into the subject and other Web3 topics. Until next time, keep building.